Vibrio researcher, Frank Santoriello. Frank is a PhD candidate at the University of Colorado's medical campus and a pen and ink illustrator. Frank's anthropomorphized bacteria literally give microbes a face, and in so doing, make our areas of study a bit more approachable and memorable to anyone who encounters his art. In a video produced by Jennifer Berglund, here's Frank.
Hello, MSI Symposium. My name is Frank Santoriello. I'm currently wrapping up my 4th year of my PhD in microbiology, studying Vibrio cholera and the type's excretion system, and I'm a pen and ink illustrator. My work overall attempts to put a human face on microbes in order to help people make a more lasting connection with microbial concepts. My SciArt origin story is pretty simple. I've always been a doodler. For a really long time, my artwork was less focused, a lot of monsters and skulls and floral work. But as my scientific career progressed and my understanding of microbiology deepened, I started to realize the sheer depth of material there was to work off in microbiology. And that's when I started anthropomorphizing microbes for my own enjoyment. And people seemed to really like what I was doing, so I just didn't stop. I'd have to say my biggest influences are the microbes themselves. What microbes are capable of and where they can exist is often so interesting and absurd that I don't really need to embellish anything. I just need to connect the dots between complex microbial concepts to movies, TV, silly hats, and dumb faces. I also do a fair deal of commission work, and the ideas I get from my fellow microbiologists are super inspiring. My ideas are often born from reading lectures or my own research, typical PhD stuff. Sometimes I'll connect those ideas to a pun or a pop culture reference, but regardless, next will come the pencil sketch where I frantically scribble out the ideas in my head. Once I'm satisfied with the shape of everything there, I ink it all by hand, starting with outlines and finishing with stippling. And then that final inked image can be digitized for further processing, like adding color or lighting effects. I've always been attracted to the art and media that tackled the surreal or the absurd, especially in the wrapper of fantasy or science fiction. So I think science makes such a good subject for my art because it can be so wacky and unpredictable that it provides endless source material. All I need to really do is add in a little bit of imagination and end up with a really cool product. I think that microbiology in particular makes a great subject for my art because these wild microbial concepts that you and I love so much can be inherently difficult to understand, but we're seeing especially right now just how important it is that people understand them. So my hope in creating is that by putting a fun face on microbiology, I can make some of these concepts click for the viewer. It's also really great for my own learning. I have a bit of an obsession with accuracy, so in creating my art, I actually do a fair deal of diving into the literature, which has definitely helped grow my own knowledge base and perspective on science. I am not sure I have a favorite piece. I'm a bit of a Vibrio nut, so I am partial to any of my work, including those little guys. At the moment, I am really proud, though, of my recent Plagues and Pandemics piece. It allowed me to flex a little bit more of my realism skills, and I honestly think it's probably the best skull I've ever drawn. So for right now, I would call that my favorite. My audience is anyone and everyone interested in microbes, the crazy things they do, the crazy shapes they take, and the crazy worlds in which they live. I try to make my art accessible to all. When someone sees one of my pieces, I hope they take away some degree of new understanding, but if not, I mostly just hope they take away some joy.
Alrighty, this is where I turn things back over to Pete.